Welcome to Foundation Focus. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Jones, president of the St. Lucie County Education Foundation, and our special guest today is Mr. E. Wayne Gent, Superintendent of St. Lucie County Public Schools. Mr. Gent, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tom.
And I was thinking back, I think you and I started with the school district just around the same time, about 4 years ago.
Right.
And I was wondering if you can just give the audience a little background on your journey to the public school district.
Well, my journey really started in 1980. I was here for 20 years, from 80 to 2000, and I was Fort Pierce Central as a teacher and basketball coach. Then I became an assistant principal there. Then I went to Fort St. Lucie High School as an assistant principal. Then I opened up Forest Grove Middle. Went to Westwood as principal, went to the state for a year, came back, opened up St. Lucie West Middle School then, it wasn't K-8. And then from 2000 to 2015 was in Palm Beach County, so I've been back for 4 years. So it seems like, just seems like last summer that I came, but we got some good things going on.
Well, it's been a busy 4 years. There's been a lot of good news. I mean, in
Right. general,
the school district is, first of all, the rating is really strong, and the graduation rates are up. And I know that the district calls it the points of pride.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if you could just tell the audience a little bit about all of the wonderful things that have been happening in the school district over the past several years.
Okay. Well, yeah, our graduation rate really went from 45th to in the top 10, and with that, in that top 10, we have a very diverse school district. So we have about a third of our students are Hispanic, about a third are African American, about a third white, and we have ESC students. We have English learners of languages. The ESOL students come from other countries. So almost in every category, we're in the top of the state, in the top 10 in the state of Florida. So we're pleased with that. Our overall graduation rate with our comprehensive high schools is about 96.5, and that's the highest on the Treasure Coast. And of the 11 high schools on the Treasure Coast, the 6 top spots the 5 top spots are held by our schools. And then Westwood comes in a couple at 92%. But 4 years ago, their graduation rate was in the 60s. So it's just been a tremendous story to tell with our graduation rate and then overall academic performance. We're a B-rated district. We're just on the cusp of an A rating. If we could count our graduation rate towards our scores, they're a lagging indicator. If we could have counted them this year, but they won't count till this next summer, we would be an A-rated school district, a very strong A. And so we have no failing schools. 66% of the schools are A and B rated. Tremendous job by our teachers and by our administrators in the school centers. And, it's industry certifications. Those numbers are going up. That's students that get credentials in high school to be able to go right into the workforce, not at entry-level pay, preparing kids for college, for workforce, for the military. So a lot of positive things happening right now.
That's great news. One of the things that I've noticed over the last several years is that there's a great sense of urgency, that
Right.
the whole school district is focused on every child, and they just work very diligently towards that. I'm kind of wondering, tell the audience how the general public can help with the school district's plans.
Well, number one, the first and best teacher should be the parents. So the best way they can help is to be good parents, and many of our parents are, and they work hard and they follow their children. Check their homework, check what's going on in the school center, join the school advisory council, join the PTA. They can be actively involved in school centers with that, and then work with their teachers. Everything's online. So just to really, I always say the greatest gift you can give your child is the gift of time, and to make sure that they're focused and listening to them. Other ways is what we're going to be talking about here, and I guess in a moment, is the initiative we have coming up right now for a referendum. To go to our voters to increase some funding for our teachers and for security and in mental health services.
Yeah, let's spend some time talking about the referendum. The referendum is coming up in April.
Correct.
And maybe you can give us some background and the purpose of the referendum.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, the state of Florida, teacher salaries in the state of Florida are 46th in the country. Last week, a new report came out. We were 45th. Now we've dropped another. So we're in the bottom. We're in the bottom 5, and that's nothing to be proud of. Several districts across the state have seen that and have gone to their voters for local referendums to raise the salaries of teachers and to increase security on school campuses. And 20 of those happened last year. All 20 passed right here in our own backyard. Martin County, Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade, Broward, Orange County, several counties have passed these that will increase teachers' salary. Let's just talk about teacher salaries first. 46th in the country, and we have to recruit. Nationally, we have to recruit. We compete against our surrounding counties, but we also have to retain our teachers, keep our teachers here. So it's a dual purpose to recruit them and keep good people here. Well, Martin County has increased their salary based on years of experience, anywhere from $2,000 to almost $8,000 a year. If a teacher's got 0 to 5 years experience, they can make about $2,000 more a year. With 5 to 9 years experience, they can make $5,000 a year, and over 10 years experience, they can make almost $8,000. And then that's each year. And we can't compete with that. In Palm Beach is very similar. In fact, for teachers with more than 10 years in Palm Beach County, they'll make a supplement of $10,000 a year. So if we want to continue these strong gains and we want to continue to attract high-quality teachers and not lose teachers to surrounding counties, we have to go to our voters and ask them, if they support education. And, this benefits our students. This benefits our community. This really affects our economic vitality and growth in our community. I mean, a lot of positive things are happening surrounding the school district. People moving in, the first question they ask, tell me about your schools and are you safe? And so we are going to go to the voters here in April and ask them that question. Will they support pay for teachers, school resource officer on every campus, increase mental health services for our students are the three biggies.
So if the referendum were to take place, how long will it last? Is it like a tax, like a property tax?
Yeah, it's a property tax. It would be based on the single value home, the average single value home in St. Lucie County or condominium. It would be about $8 a month for the average homeowner or condo owner here. It would be in place for 4 years. It cannot. That's by state law. And then and in 4 years, the only way it could be renewed, it would have to go back to the voters. So you have built-in accountability there that it's for 4 years. The other thing that's important about the accountability is that even in the ballot language itself, the last sentence talks about the funds would be overseen by a citizen volunteer group, if you will, to make sure that every dollar goes to where we say it's going to go.
And the volunteer group will be chosen how?
They'll be able to volunteer. I think board members will choose somebody, and then we'll also have like volunteers from different parts of the county, maybe from Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie, the county in general, to sit down and meet with and share. I was able in Palm Beach County to be in charge or to really work with 3 of these initiatives at that time. Each time we had an individual, an outside oversight committee, never one bit of controversy. Every penny went to exactly where we said it was going to go. I'm very proud of that, and the board's very proud of that. And we would have the same structure here, so that these are our citizens' dollars. We want to make sure we can show everyone exactly where they go. A lot of misinformation that goes on when you have campaigns like this. And this is really about teacher salaries. It's about a school resource officer on every campus, and it's about maintaining the mental health services that we have, as well as the oversight through an outside oversight committee.
So the funds will be focused, correct?
Correct.
Focus on those 4 key areas?
Yeah, let me narrow it down. For teacher salaries, we anticipate that we'll raise about we'll raise around $22 million a year. Teacher salaries will be 70% of that. That'll be about $15.5 million. And that will put them in the ballpark of the numbers to be competitive with surrounding counties, to be able to retain good teachers as well as to recruit them. And then 15% will go for school resource officers, $5.5 million. That will guarantee that we can have a school resource deputy, police deputy on every campus, which we do right now. We can talk more about that in a moment. And then mental health services will have $1 million there to be able to hire additional guidance counselors, school psychologists, and social workers that work in the community with the parents as well. So there's a definite need for all 3.
That's great. You hear a lot about the Florida lottery. You hear a lot about, there's billions of dollars being raised. Can any of that money go to those causes? Well,
the Florida lottery is interesting. Less than 1/2 of 1% of lottery dollars we get for our general operations. That would last us one day up until about 10:30 in the morning. Some of the other lottery dollars, the rest go toward scholarships for students, Bright Future scholarships, which is a small amount of money. But when the lottery first came into being, 20 some odd years ago, it was supposed to enhance education. It was supposed to add on to education. But they have taken those dollars, and those have been part of the budget, and it was never an enhancement or an add-on. It's a great question because people will ask me that all the time. But it really, there's really, with the exception of helping students for scholarships, it's really very, very minimal.
Okay. Now, also the school district is building a new building, and I've heard just through the grapevine that, hey, let's take some of that money and just put it towards the referendum or towards the teacher salaries.
Yeah, it's a good question. The district building was flooded out. I can't remember the name of the storm, but it was over a year ago.
Hurricane Irma, that's right.
And that's been about the second, third time that building's been flooded. And it was a complete disaster. And rather than go back in there, it's cost prohibitive to go back. So we found a piece of property, and we'll build a building. It'll be paid for through insurance proceeds, through the sale of the old building, as well as sales tax dollars. In fact, the building is already paid for. None of those dollars could have gone for teacher salaries. None of those dollars, or if they could have, then we wouldn't be here today, or we wouldn't be going to the voters. You have dollars that come, either operating dollars or capital dollars that come down from the state. And it's very specific how those dollars can be spent. And so we couldn't have used any of the money from the new building for teacher salaries.
One of the things that I've noticed the school district has over the years done a great effort in reaching out to the broader market to try and bring in high quality teachers. And so I'm gathering that there's a real challenge in that these teachers are coming in, but at the same time, there's in other surrounding districts, there's actually some marketing on their part too to take our teachers away from our district.
Well, with the salaries in the state in itself, you recruit nationally. Okay. And so then you recruit, you're in your competition nationally, you're competing with the local surrounding districts, you're competing with the state of Florida. And so it is a big challenge to get folks in. And, they'll ask about the salaries, they'll ask about, what does your district pay? And so you've got to be competitive or the students and the community itself will suffer. You win with the right people, you win with the right people. And we have great teachers here. All these academic gains that we've talked about really come because of what our teachers are doing, the incredible job they do. There's also a national shortage of teachers, and then there's a shortage in Florida. Right now there's 2,200 less teachers than there were last year at this time in the state. And in our own county, we're down about 80 teachers, a shortage of 80.
Well, that's a real challenge,
Yes.
a daily challenge. Tell us how the budget dollars will actually be allocated.
Okay, I kind of mentioned that before. 70% will go for teacher salaries,
okay, teacher salaries,
and 15% will go towards the school resource officers. Let me talk about that for a minute. We feel it's very important that we have an armed deputy on each one of our campuses. That's not always been the case. We've got a strong partnership, particularly with the sheriff's department. They came in. They came in the 80s, and brought in officers in the school centers when the recession hit. They had to pull some officers out. So we've really, up until Stoneman Douglas, the tragedy a year ago, we've had officers in the high schools and the K-8s in the middle schools, but not in the elementary schools. So right after Stoneman Douglas, Sheriff Mascara put an officer on every campus, particularly the elementary schools. And he's maintained that this year, but that's at a sacrifice to the services that the sheriff's department can provide for the entire county. They've had to pull officers in to be in the schools, and so something gets left undone. An example would be out of Alapata Flats. The officer there is one of the Marine Patrol officers. So they're down a Marine Patrol officer so that we can have officers in our school center. If we're successful with the referendum, that will guarantee us that we'll continue to have these school resource deputies on each and every campus protecting our schools and our children.
That's terrific. Now, you've created a campaign called For Our Children, and can you tell us about the actual campaign and tell us about what the schedule is?
Well, what we're doing is I can only go out and educate. I can't advocate, so I educate. So we've developed materials that we have on our website, and it's to educate our voters about the future of our school district, and that this is what we would get if we would get be able to compete with surrounding counties for teacher pay, have a deputy on every campus, the mental health services to make sure that we've got guidance counselors in our schools, increase that, school psychologists that work with our students. We're down 5 psychologists right now because of they've left for higher pay in surrounding counties. And our children bring many mental health challenges to us, and the teachers really are not equipped to deal with that. And so these mental health services are crucial, and you'll find that more and more across our country with some of the behaviors you see, some of the violence that you see. We've got to really address that and attack that at the earliest ages.
So the general public can go on the public schools website?
Yeah, correct. They can go on the web page. We're speaking to community groups, community organizations, homeowners associations, because the election's coming up on April 3rd, and it'll be I'm sure you're going to ask the question. If you want me to go ahead, I'll go there.
Go
now.
right ahead.
It'll be a unique election because it's going to be a mail-in ballot. Since this is a special election and this is the only ballot language, it's just going to be about about what we just have spoken about, the teacher salaries, security, and mental health. We're going to every registered voter will get a ballot in the mail. It'll be postage prepaid. All I have to do is fill it out and mail it back. If they don't want to mail it, they can drop it off at the Gertrude Walker, the supervisor of election, at her office. She has 4 sites. The one up at the Orange Blossom Mall site. They have one over on Walton Road at the Driver's License Bureau. There's one in St. Lucie West, the county annex, and the newest one is the new property the tax collector's office down at in Tradition, right in front of Christ Fellowship Church. Folks could drop those off as well, but every registered voter will receive a ballot in the mail on or about April 3rd. They're due back in by 7 p.m. April 23rd, so you really have 20 days to complete it. It'll take just a few moments to complete. We're doing it because special elections by nature, very few people come out and vote. And we think that this will give the most registered voters and citizens an opportunity to have a say about the future of public schools here. Rather than a small percentage, we hope to triple what you would normally see so that anyone that's interested can do their research, look at it, and then they have to make their mind up. Our teacher salary is important to have the best. Is it important to have armed school officers on every campus? Is it important to have mental health services for our students? These dollars overseen by an independent committee. That's important to us, I think, for the future of the county. Our voters need to decide on that. But through this mail-in, we'll have the most participation, and however it goes, but we want every voter to be involved, be educated, to make a good decision.
So the referendum will pass if there's, what, 50%?
50 plus 1.
50 plus 1 person.
Correct.
Or one vote.
Exactly.
Okay, and the deadline is April 23rd?
April 23rd at 7 p.m.
Okay. And I just want the audience to also know that you can log on to the website of the Education Foundation, www.efslc.org. We also have posted the literature on the For Our Children campaign. And any last minute thoughts?
Well, I appreciate what Tom, what you do and what the Ed Foundation does to enhance education, to do different programs in our school centers where teachers get unique. I know they put in their request, and they're always excited when they do it. The grants,
right.
And what you do to support our Teachers of the Year and everything that you and the organization does. We've got a lot to be proud of in our district. It's because of good people, and this county has always come through in the past. I think it's important that folks educate themselves on this referendum. This benefits everyone. This benefits the entire. If your schools are strong. I always say, do better schools equal better communities, or do better communities equal better schools? Well, the answer is yes and yes. You can't have one without the other. You have to have good schools, you can have good communities, you're going to have economic development. The quality of life increases for everyone. But these students are our future. They're our most precious natural resource, and they deserve the best and brightest folks in a safe learning environment. And I hope that the citizens will look at the information and make a decision on how this will benefit everybody.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gent, and thank you for those kind words. The Education Foundation is very proud to be a partner with the school district for almost 30 years now. We're going to be celebrating 30 years in just a couple of years. And I'd like to ask the audience to please look for the ballots in your mail, and please cast your ballots by April 23. And if you would like to learn more about it, please log on to our website. Mr. Gent, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Tom.